with another science quest for you. Today we're talking about composting. What is it, and how can you compost at home? What are the benefits of composting? I'm here in my garden, at my house, to show you what composting does. First of all, what is compost? Compost is a dark, earthy smelling, mineral-rich dirt that is created by the natural decomposition, also known as rotting, of organic materials like leaves, garden trimmings, lawn clippings, and food scraps. During the composting process, bacteria, fungi, and microbes feed on the materials and turn them into nutrient-rich soil that plants can use to grow. Why should we compost? Compost improves soil, protects the climate, and promotes understanding of how the environments break down waste and recycles nutrients to grow new plants. Every gardener should compost. A mature, good quality compost increases microbial activity, suppresses plant disease, makes soil better able to hold nutrients, increases water retention, and makes the soil more fertile. It helps protect the climate because it reduces the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides. When food scraps are added to soil, they expand the soil's ability to store carbon. That carbon is locked into the soil and is not released into the atmosphere, where it can contribute to global warming. And composting takes waste from food scraps and puts it in the soil instead of landfills where methane is released into the air. In my garden, I compost in two different ways. I have a compost pile for grass clippings, leaves, and garden wastes that I trade out every few years to supply my raised garden beds. I also use a composter, which is a device that allows easier mixing of compost and heating in order to promote rotting. This device allows you to make compost in half the time of a regular pile. Both methods are valid, and there are many ways to start or make a better pile. Before I raised my garden beds, I used concrete blocks that have open sides to promote aeration of the pile. But compost will form anyway if you remember to turn the material every few weeks. There are other types of composting, including vermicomposting using worms, and hot and cold composting. In this video, we will talk about both hot and cold composting. You will need a compost bin of some sort to begin. I have seen all sorts of great ideas. You can make a compost bin out of a storage bin, wire like chicken wire, or even pallets that you can find being thrown out behind stores. I will use my composter here. You can get one of these online. You need to start with a mix of different materials. You need greens, which are nitrogen-rich materials like vegetables and food scraps, grass clippings, and green leaves. You need browns. It's carbon-rich materials like fall leaves, straw, wood chips, shredded woods, and even shredded newspapers. And you need water, and you need air. You need to give the microbes a balanced diet of greens versus brown nutrients. A good rule of thumb is to mix 2 to 3 parts of browns with 1 part of greens. So you have a bucket full of food scraps, make sure that you at least have 2 to 3 buckets of brown. So we will add our materials. So I have some greens to begin with. I'm gonna add some grass clippings that I have in there, right on top of everything, and I'm gonna add the browns. Here's the newspaper clippings. And then as you see, I have almost 2 times the amount of browns. It's gonna go right in there.
It stinks.
Yes, but it won't stink after a while because it'll start mixing. Okay, now you add the water. Your starting pile needs to be very wet, about 50 to 60%. That feels like a wet sponge, but not mud. Do you need to chop up your vegetable scraps? No, but it will speed up the process. Do you need to turn the compost? No, but it will speed up the process. My composter makes turning the compost easy, like so. But you can easily turn the compost by hand with a shovel or a pitchfork. As you get more into composting, there are many steps you can follow to make the process faster. The reason the method I'm using in my compost is called hot composting is because the ratio of brown materials to green materials will cause the process of rotting to release heat. The pile will literally warm up. In the winter you may see steam rising from your compost. My other compost pile is a cold composter because I just pile the waste on top. The composting process takes much longer, up to a year, but I usually use this pile once a year. In either case, you should never leave your food scraps on top of the pile. Cover them with soil from the top or add a layer of brown over them. Okay, now we need to wait about 8 to 12 weeks. And here it is, ready to be mixed into the vegetable beds. It's a natural fertilizer, and your harvest will show it. Here are some do's and don'ts you should follow when adding food scraps to your pile. I hope that you found the science quest interesting and will become a composter as well. It's one of the best ways to help our environment and your own garden. See you soon for another science quest. Bye!
Bye!